On April 1st, 2025, actor Val Kilmer died of pneumonia at the age of 65 in his Los Angeles home. In his over 40-year career, Val Kilmer has left behind an indelible legacy of work that leaves him as one of the most iconic actors of possibly all time. I've said this before, but I was a pretty big fan of his work, and it's unfortunate to see him go. But we all must go. It's just when our time comes.
Yeah, that's just how things work.
But what we're going to do now is talk about some of our favorite works from him. Now, when I asked you what your favorite of his movies were, you said,
I said Top Secret.
yeah, his first movie, in fact, his first screen credit at all, as well. And man, what a way to start.
Yeah. To be fair, I haven't seen a lot of Val Kilmer movies. But whenever you asked me the question, this was the first one that popped in my mind, and it's an enjoyable comedy movie.
Yeah. So this movie was directed by the Zucker brothers and Jim Abrams, also known for Kentucky Fried Movie, Airplane, and The Naked Gun. This movie fits into their wheelhouse nicely as a parody of, in this case, spy movies. And I feel like, well, maybe I shouldn't talk so soon because I haven't seen any of those other ones, but this is one of the funniest movies I've ever seen.
It is very goofy, and it's definitely your type of humor. I knew, because I was the one who showed it to you, and I knew that you would like it because it's just so goofy, so weird. But yeah, very funny.
Yeah, incredibly. First time I watched this movie, I didn't know where any of these gags were going. It's like you have in your mind something that, like, if you're watching like a serious movie or something, you're thinking, oh, it'd be funny if they did this or that, and you know they're not gonna do it. But then this movie, they do it, and it's like, oh my god, they did it.
Yeah, they do. All the possibilities are, thought of, and there's some pretty wacky things that happen.
Yeah, so let's get into the plot. In this movie, American rock star Nick Rivers, played by Val Kilmer, is the first rock star to be able to play in East Germany, and he gets caught up with an underground resistance movement that is trying to take down the fascist or communist government. It's kind of not clear, but East Germany was communist in real life, so let's just go that direction.
Sure, yeah.
And it's just a really fun time. I can't say that the plot is anything deep or anything, or is trying to send any sort of message, but it's just a very good time.
It is a very good time. You're right. It was made just to be enjoyed. There's no like any deep meanings to it. You just watch it and you laugh and you just have a good time.
Also in this movie, in addition to Val Kilmer, is Omar Sharif as Agent Cedric, the first character we see, actually. He's a member of the Resistance. Lucy Guttridge plays Hilary Flamand, the love interest of Nick in this movie, who he gets drawn into the Resistance by. And her father, played by Michael Goff, which it's kind of funny to see Batman and Alfred in a movie prior to Batman Forever. That's kind of neat.
Yeah, kind of funny how that worked out.
He is in charge of a secret weapon to attract submarines, and that's why he's under lock and key by the commies.
Yep. And yeah, he's working for them because he thinks that they have he thinks that they have his daughter, so he's being forced to work with them.
Yeah. And we also have Christopher Villiers as Nigel, Hillary's former love interest from a deserted island that she was shipwrecked on, who is the leader of the Resistance now, and turns out to be a double agent working for the East German government.
Yeah, that whole deserted island subplot is pretty funny because it's just so random and we know nothing about how they got off the deserted island.
And it was supposed to be a parody of Blue Lagoon, I'm assuming, with Brooke Shields.
Yeah, I have no idea what that is. So.
Anyways, and we also get a neat cameo from Peter Cushing as a bookstore owner who is completely Swedish, even though everything is just backwards, not Swedish. So it's kind of like a Swedish chef from the Muppets.
Yeah, they just give him a funny language. I think just Swedish people just talk funny. That's what I'm saying.
Wow. Okay.
That was a little. Probably shouldn't have said that, but.
You hear that, Swedish people? Molly said you guys talk funny. She said it, not me.
Yeah, I did say that.
Now, funny thing about Peter Cushing in this movie, but the cast model that was used for his makeup would later be used by ILM to recreate his likeness for Grand Moff Tarkin in Rogue One.
That's kind of funny.
You know, nice to recycle props when you have them.
Yeah, comes in handy.
So, what can we really say about Top Secret? Because, like we said, it's not a very deep movie, but it's a very fun movie.
Yes, it's just a comedy, and yeah, like I said, it's just made to be enjoyed.
Yeah, Nick Rivers is this rock star heartthrob who all the ladies like, and he's not the deepest character, but he's a likable enough protagonist and a decent enough first role for Val Kilmer. I feel like he did a very good job in this role.
Yeah, he was pretty funny.
And honestly, you really get to care about him and Hillary and what's going to happen with them. And I was hoping that they would end up together by the end of the movie because, well, they're nice together.
Yeah, they are. So yeah, it's nice to see them end up together.
I really don't think we have too much more to say on this. What about you?
No, I guess not. I will say if you haven't seen it yet,
Go see it.
Yeah, definitely, because it is a very good time. Just sit down, relax, enjoy yourself. Though I will say, I understand if you don't like it. Like, I could see that type of humor not being for everybody, but I enjoy it, and I know you enjoy it. So
yeah, very sight gag heavy with its jokes, which I don't know. It may be a bit silly, maybe a bit stupid, but you know, just a simple sight gag gets me every time.
Yeah, it's funny. I agree.
Now let's move on to our next movie. Now, when I was thinking of my favorite Val Kilmer movie, my mind instantly went to The Prince of Egypt. But we already covered it, and we don't really have a reason to go over it again, so I'm going to go with my second option, Tombstone. Let's get into that now.
Yes, good choice.
So, Tombstone is a story that we've technically covered before when we looked at last year's video on My Darling Clementine that we did to announce our pregnancy. Just spoiler alert for that video. That movie was pretty mid.
Yeah, wasn't really my type, and it was my pregnancy. Okay, not yours.
Okay, look, one of us had to help you make the baby, and it wasn't going to be you.
Okay, yeah, but I had to do the hard part. Okay.
Okay, fair enough. That's true.
Anyways, continue.
Anyways, and on my Letterboxd review, I even say just go watch Tombstone instead. So yeah, that's what we did.
Yes, we watched Tombstone.
So Tombstone is the story of the Earp brothers, Wyatt, Virgil, and Morgan, who come to Tombstone looking to seek their fortune, and instead they find a whole bunch of crime that they gotta stop.
Yep, bunch of bad guys running the town.
They are joined by Val Kilmer's Doc Holliday, a gunslinger, former dentist with tuberculosis, who is ready to die any day, who helps them clean up the town. It's based on the real world events, and look, let's be completely honest. This movie is a very romanticized version of the real events. But having said that, it's also really fun.
Yeah. Um, it is. It is a lot of fun, and I understand why. They got to make things a little bit more interesting for a movie, and yeah, it worked out pretty well.
Yes, it did. Yes, it did. Now let's get into this cast because it is one of the best casts I've ever seen in a movie. Like to give you some idea of how stacked this cast was, the Academy Awards is rolling out a new category for the next ceremony for best casting. If they had this category back in the 90s when Tombstone was made, this would have definitely won hands down in my opinion, I think.
All right.
We have Kurt Russell playing Wyatt Earp, the former pimp, marshal, buffalo herder. The man was a man of a lot of trades, who has come to Tombstone to try to make his money.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
He's joined by, of course, Val Kilmer as Doc Holliday, the best character in the movie, just hands down. He is everyone's favorite, and I am no different. He was great in this movie.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Definitely robbed of an Oscar nomination. We talked about it a little bit ago, who we would have kicked out of that category for this year. And well, you seem to think that Leonardo DiCaprio and What's Eating Gilbert Grape should stay.
Yeah, you wanted to kick him out, and I said no. Don't do it, you jerk.
Well, there. First the Swedish people, and now you're calling me a jerk. You better watch your language, Missy.
Yeah, I'm on a roll tonight.
But yeah, Val Kilmer should have been nominated, and I think he should have won. Hot take.
Yeah, that might be a little hot take, but he should have been nominated. I'll give you that. Yeah.
Yeah. But bottom line, the late Val Kilmer was incredible in this movie. This is definitely one of my favorite roles from him. Might even be my favorite role of his.
Mm-hmm, yeah, it's pretty good.
Sam Elliott plays Virgil Earp, one of Wyatt's brothers. The late Bill Paxton plays Morgan Earp, another one of his brothers. In real life, he had two more that were with him in Tombstone, but they cut it down to just the two brothers with him to save time, I guess.
Guess so.
The late Powers Booth plays Curly Bill Brocious, the leader of the Cowboys, a local gang of outlaws in this movie. You could tell that they're who they are because they all wear red sashes, which that didn't happen in real life, but I guess they might have been borrowing from the colors that the Bloods were using in real life.
Sure.
Michael Biehn plays Johnny Ringo, Curly Bill's right-hand man, and probably the worst of the Cowboys, given how bloodthirsty and just crazy this guy is.
He's a bad dude.
Oh, yeah. Jason Priestley plays Billy Breckenridge, one of the other Cowboys, who has a bit of a soft spot for the actors in this that they see in this movie.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Stephen Lang and Thomas Hayden Church play the Clanton brothers, Ike and Billy, two members of the Cowboys who get involved in the shootout at the OK Corral in the middle of the movie.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Dana Delaney plays Josephine Marcus, Wyatt's eventual wife, years after the events of this movie, and one of the actors to come to Tombstone.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Michael Rooker plays Sherman McMasters, a member of the Cowboys who leaves once they target the Earp's wives.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Billy Bob Thornton plays Johnny Tyler, a gambling leader who gets kicked out of the saloon in a pretty interesting and historically accurate scene.
Oh, nice.
Like, it didn't happen at the time that the Earps, when they first got to Tombstone, but it did happen more or less like that in real life.
Wow, pretty cool.
We even get Billy Zane as the leader of the actors, who honestly, in one of his earlier roles, it's kind of interesting to see him.
Yeah, I guess so. I didn't even know that was him, I guess.
We also get a cameo from another star who Doc Holliday stabs in a bar in his first appearance, and he's played by, you guessed it, Frank Stallone.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And that will do it for our main players, really. So, what are your thoughts on Tombstone?
Um, you know, it's pretty good. It's pretty entertaining. I don't think, um, it's a. I mean, it's not a movie that I would watch all the time, but, I definitely, can find enjoyment in it, even though it's not a movie that's typically, up my alley. But it's still good, and I can still respect it. And, yeah, pretty good.
Yeah, I agree. I love the on-screen chemistry between Russell and Kilmer. I feel like they had one of the best bromances we've ever seen on screen. You know, just the friendship between Wyatt and Doc was it's just great to see in this movie because, well, like I said before, Doc had tuberculosis in real life. He was diagnosed with it at the age of 13. His mother died from the disease, and he would carry with him until he died. And I'm not sure if this is how he was in real life, but in the movie, he would he would live every day as if it would be his last, because it very well could have been. So he didn't really care who he pissed off or who he really swindled in order to get through the day. He was just doing stuff, man.
Yeah, he just lived life how he wanted.
Until one day in Dodge City, Kansas, he saved Wyatt's life. Wyatt was working with the federal marshals. He was going after someone else, and Doc helped him out, and which led to their tombstone. In real life, Doc was in Tombstone because Wyatt invited him out to see them.
All right, interesting.
And later on in the movie, Doc is asked why he's riding with the Earps, or, well, just Wyatt at this point, and he says that Wyatt Earp is his friend. The guy who asked him that said that, hell, I got lots of friends, but Doc just says, I don't.
Did you say that was real life or the movie?
That was the movie.
Okay. Nah, I don't remember. But yes.
So just the amount of loyalty that you get from Doc Holliday, if you're one of the few people that he actually truly respects and I would say loves too, it's astounding. It's really great to see from this character.
Yeah, it is. He's a really cool dude.
And that last scene with Wyatt and Doc, jeez, it breaks my heart every time, because Doc is on his back in his hospital bed, which in real life didn't really happen like that. But for the sake of the movie, this is the perfect ending. Wyatt is just visiting him. It's his last days, and right before he dies, he looks at his feet and says that this is funny, because he never expected to die lying down in bed. He always assumed he was just going to go out in a gunfight or something, and the fact that he didn't might kind of surprise him and kind of confuses him, but he also doesn't mind it in a way.
Yeah, it's like, I guess he expected to maybe not be as lucky or as strong as what he ended up being to survive all the violence and die in bed with sickness.
Yeah. Yeah, it's you love to see it.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Now, in real life, Doc and Wyatt's friendship ended over. It ended over Josephine, actually.
Oh yeah.
Doc didn't like that Josephine was Jewish, and Wyatt took offense to that.
Yeah, I can see why.
And Wyatt and Josephine themselves didn't exactly have the best marriage either, but that's neither here nor there.
Yeah. Okay.
But I feel like this is one of the greatest westerns of all time. All right, it's not entirely historically accurate. It does have some historically accurate things in it. A surprising amount if you're told that this movie isn't the most accurate. But I feel like that's kind of the appeal, really, in a way. You know what I mean?
Um, I guess.
It's like it's a romanticization of the real story. So yeah, some things are going to be different. It's like someone's telling you the legend of Wyatt Earp and what happened. So honestly, the whatever historical inaccuracies are in the movie makes sense to me.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
One thing in the movie that allegedly did happen in real life was when Wyatt walks out in the middle of all the gunfire and near the creek in the woods with the cowboys and doesn't get hit once and just blasts Curly Bill to pieces with his shotgun.
That's pretty cool.
That supposedly happened in real life. Now, I'm not sure if he went, no, all weird like that, but, whatever.
I don't know. That's it's pretty impressive.
Now, if you want a look at the historical aspect of this movie, I'd recommend looking at a History Buff's video on this movie. He's got a real great video on it, and honestly, it's one of my favorite videos of his that he has.
Yeah, very interesting.
All right, would you like to know some trivia about this movie?
Sure.
So, originally, this movie was, it was being developed by Kevin Costner for his own Wyatt Earp documentary. That would end up being an entirely different movie while this was released the year prior. And at one point, Kurt Russell was considered for the role of Doc Holliday, opposite Richard Gere as Wyatt Earp.
Okay. That didn't happen, obviously.
New. Robert Mitchum was originally cast as Old Man Clanton, but the part was dropped after he was injured falling off his horse, but he did narrate the movie.
Okay. Pretty cool.
Val Kilmer was skilled at finger walking, that thing he did with the poker chip in his first scene.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And Michael Biehn got to do some pretty cool gun twirling in his scene, which I've heard that Kilmer improvised himself doing that with the cup to sort of like mock Johnny Ringo, so that's kind of funny.
Yeah, that is funny.
Let's see. So Kilmer got the emaciating and sickly look of Doc Holliday by eating almost nothing but onions and tomatoes for weeks before the filming started.
Yeah, that sure would make you lose weight.
Which, look, the man was dedicated to his craft.
Yeah, you could say that. Mm-hmm.
Yes, you could. According to the director George Cosmatos on the DVD commentary, Stephen Lang was drunk when he did most of his scenes.
Oh my. Yeah.
Which makes sense also.
Yep.
Let's see. Oh, so one of Wyatt Earp's relatives was in the movie. His fifth cousin, Wyatt Earp, plays Billy Claiborne.
Nice, nice.
This movie, as I hinted at with the Kevin Costner movie, had a pretty troubled production. Kevin Costner was placing pressure on the studio not to finance it because he wanted to do his own. And another one of the original choices for Doc Holliday was Willem Dafoe.
Okay, yeah.
They didn't want to cast him due to the controversy that still surrounded him from the movie The Last Temptation of Christ.
Okay.
You know, it turns out that American audiences and studios get kind of touchy around Jesus.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, who would have thought?
Yeah, yeah.
And the rumor is that the director George Cosmatos was hired by Kurt Russell to sort of act as a sort of pretend director so that Russell could do it in actuality.
Okay.
Cosmatos also, quote-unquote, directed Rambo First Blood Part 2, and the story goes that Stallone suggested him to Russell so that he could direct it on his own.
Okay, that's a little confusing, but okay.
Well, see, at the time, and I'm sure now, there's this Clint Eastwood rule that if a director gets fired, they can't be replaced by someone who had been a part of the production already. This happened during the filming of The Outlaw Josie Wales. The original director of that got fired, and Clint Eastwood stepped up to do it.
Yeah.
Look, Hollywood's a weird place.
Yeah, I was like, that seems like a stupid rule, but okay.
Okay, so Mickey Rourke turned down the role of Johnny Ringo, and Jerry Goldsmith was originally attached to the score of this movie, but he had scheduling conflicts. Supposedly John Carpenter was in the running to direct it, but that was just a rumor. You know, with how troubled this production was, it's astounding that we got a movie as good as we got. You know what I mean?
Yeah, sounds like it had some problems.
Yeah, and I feel like everyone was cast exactly perfect. This is one of the best cast movies of all time, in my opinion. Everyone is just perfect. They're doing the best they can, which for a lot of these guys is really great.
Yes, for sure.
You know, you got genre actors like Powers Booth, Michael Biehn, Bill Paxton, who are well known for their science fiction roles, getting thrown into this period western, and they fit the roles perfectly. Like, I couldn't imagine anyone else in these roles, and everyone has sung the praises of Doc Holliday, Val Kilmer. I'm going to be another one. He embodies this role better than anyone else could have. I love Willem Dafoe. He is one of my favorite actors, but Val Kilmer, man, he did this perfectly.
Yes, he definitely did.
And that's not to downplay Kurt Russell or Sam Elliott. They did fantastic work as well, and they would later go on to play other Western characters. But this is probably some of their more iconic roles in that genre.
Yeah, probably.
Well, that's all I have to say about Tombstone. Do you have anything more to add?
No, I think I'm good.
Yeah. So, like we said at the beginning of this video, Val Kilmer was an incredible actor. He was dedicated to his craft. He had a real desire to make his art, and he said that he was difficult in his earlier years, but he had since regretted it. I would, but he was one of the best to ever do it, and we're not going to have anyone like him again.
Nope.
So, we'll see you next time.
Yep. See you next time.